Hello everybody and welcome to School of War. Today we're gonna be talking about kiting. Kiting, you see, is a very popular tactic, especially for skirmishers fighting against infantry. And it is a very effective tactic, of course, especially if you can put a bit of a distance between you and the enemy. This, of course, requires you to be faster than the enemy and hopefully to have some reinforcements around. But other than that, today we're going to take a look at how kiting can be done, a few tactics when it comes to doing kiting. So today I'm going to be playing as javelins, as Caesar. Now the reason I'm going to be playing Caesar, a lot of people might think that Sulla would be the best with javelins, and in a lot of situations they will be right. But Caesar has one ability that the others do not have. And so with that in mind, let's resume the footage and take a look on how it's done. Now you see us bombarding these foot companions. Now you see this is quite important, and this is where the Caesar comes in. Under normal circumstances, Miltiades catches up to any of the infantry. That's his ability, that as infantry he's the most mobile general. Two of his abilities increases speed, and quite drastically, I might add. What he does is that his break ranks ability increases his melee attack considerably, 41% at this rate, but most importantly his speed, which allows them to catch up to infantry. So, in addition to his charge ability, he can easily catch up to any skirmishers. That is assuming he can use his abilities. The problem with that is he is currently affected by divide and conquer. Which is the Caesar's ultimate. So now here you will see a very common mistake when it comes to kiting, which is blobbing. Blobbing is, as a rule of thumb, a bad idea, but when you are blobbing as skirmishers, there are some advantages. For example, especially if you're playing as skirmishers or any unit that can move fast in a quick notice, so if you're playing as Kanani, this applies as well, is that you will be able to dodge enemy fire, you will have a tighter control over your units, and you will have less engagements, kind of a rogue engagements, because your units are not as spread. So at sometimes it might be preferable to blob your units. Now here the blob allows the enemy to have a single target. Right now he's chasing 6 units. Now ideally we kite the enemy back, he's following us, some cavalry right behind him, towards our reinforcements. Remember, when you're kiting, know where you are kiting. Always have a plan, you have to think ahead. So now I'm separating from my ally, not too far, because the enemy Equites was ready to jump on us. Now that we have separated, he has to pick a target. He picked the slingers, very bad choice, and now let's see what happens. Boom! Boom! Half of his health gone. Half the health is gone right there. Nothing he could do. So when you're playing as Caesar, of course, you have to check the duration of your divide and conquer. Activate your abilities one by one, because Caesar's abilities are area of effect. So as long as he wasn't facing me, I knew he could not charge. Now I do not even notice that I'm being shot at because I'm way too busy kiting. And now another enemy comes in, and I go into a kiting formation. Boom, one of my units routed, but that's okay, I'm still in control. It's very important not to panic, because you will be surrounded, you will have situations where you cannot help it. So in those cases, you just need to learn to sacrifice the weakest unit. He is charging, but I put enough distance between us. My units came back. Another charge, ordering my faster units away. Just hit and run. Kiting is basically a hit and run ability, is a hit and run tactic. Okay, now we see what kiting is all about. So you remember the blob? Blob allows the opponent to chase a single group of units. When you have them under control, just split your units. Now we have separated these armored legionaries from his friends, and that way he cannot corner us. So now we just scurry around like rats, see which direction he's looking at, and just shoot him. Put up a little distance and run. He changes his target. Start running. Now shoot with the other one. Boom. Always adapt to your opponent's moves. As Sun Tzu says, know yourself and know your enemy, basically. Now, knowing is one thing. He also implicitly implies adapt to what he is doing. In fact, that's why the heavy emphasis on speed in Art of War. Now, I have noticed right here that his testudo was facing away from me, so I seize the opportunity and I run away from my enemy. Here, I notice that the velites are over here. Or I don't notice and see how much that costs me. Half of my remaining health. I keep running away, as I know my opponent has surrounded me. Now, while I'm doing that, I am decapping the enemy, preventing them from capturing the base, even though they have numerical superiority in our base. Just harass them. Just keep on harassing them. So, speaking of sacrifices, here I have sacrificed this one unit of wounded javelins to occupy this one unit of infantry. When it comes to kiting, your goal is to not be hit at any cost. So the cost here was my javelins. But seeing as how I'm receiving reinforcements, I'm trying to unite with my forces. Now I could spread over here, but then I know some velites that are over here, but I don't notice at the time. Now, one thing that needs to be remembered though, this maneuver requires a lot of practice. I know it looks easy just clicking around, but you need to be both watching the map, watching your surroundings, and microing at the same time. So it takes a bit of practice. Now, when it comes to microing, you might think, hey, I play StarCraft at 200 RPM. The Total War is not the same. There is one fundamental difference between other RTSs and Total War in general, which is the command delay. In Total War, it's a realistic command, so when General issues a command, the captain needs to give the order, and for men required to process that order, which drastically changes the way the game operates. So it becomes more about your decision making than your speed. But speed is nonetheless will give you advantage. So your standard micro will give you advantage, but when Total War players talk about micro, they talk about your speed plus your decision making, or as the StarCraft players would call it, effective actions per minute, EAPM. I think that's the right term. It's been a few years since I played StarCraft. So here I know I cannot avoid the equites over here. Now, as I was saying my last prayers, boom! Victory is ours. And so this was on how to kite and how simple kiting can change the fate of battle. There, by decapping and continuous kiting, not only did I get the MVP with over 450 kills, I have also allowed us to win. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.